Hello. How's everyone doing? It's good to be back. My name's Keith. If you are brand new, welcome. I'm the meditation teacher here on this channel, Meditation Breaks. And this channel is obviously about learning meditation, but learning all the different types of things that we can do with this really cool practice. So even if you're brand new or never meditated before, you're like, I just need the basics, Keith. Don't be trying to do anything fancy. We'll start with the basics. But the cool thing about meditation is that it can be basic and it can be like expansive beyond what you could possibly imagine, right? And so I'm really excited about this class today because I think this topic is a culmination of a lot of the things we've been talking about over the last couple months. And I think this is a really great window into how meditation can go beyond just a means of relaxing, right? Cool. So, like I said, we'll start with the basics. So every class is pretty much a similar cadence. We'll start with what is meditation, how does it work, why do it, or, all that stuff that we're probably asking ourselves if we're new. Hey, Melody. Thanks. It's good to be back. And after that, we'll do a little short breathing meditation together. This is just to kind of get everyone's feet wet, per se, is like, so that's kind of what meditation is like. And then we're going to talk about a topic. We focus on a different topic every week. And today's topic is all about giving and really kind of analyzing, well, what does it mean to give? When's the last week? So this class is probably going to be my last class for the year because I have to do some traveling for the holidays. I might sneak one in before New Year's, but this might probably be the last one before the New Year, and then we'll pick up in the New Year there, right? Hey, Mary. Cool. So I want to get started, and what did we do last week? I'm sorry, Zach. I'm not sure what you're asking. Oh, Brenda, that's so sweet. And actually, I think Brenda, that's a really good theme. I think that we're going to touch on a lot today, right? This idea of ongoing learning, right, is a really key theme to today. So you nailed it already. A+. Oh, why did we not have this last week? I was away. I was on a work trip, so I wasn't able to stream. So, thanks. So I want to get started. And we're going to get started by talking about meditation in general. So this is if you're brand new, this is a great entry point. If you're been coming here for a while, nice little recap. Meditation, when we think about it, we all have a very similar image. We have an image of somebody sitting on the floor looking very relaxed. The legs are cross-legged, hands like this or whatnot. This is what I'll call our generic image of meditation, right? When we think about meditation, this almost instantly pops into our mind, right? And it's become very iconic, right? This kind of seated, eyes closed, position. It's an emoji, right? So that's how you know you made it. So this is a way to meditate. You can meditate sitting on the floor with your eyes closed, focusing on your breath, right? But that's not the definition of meditation. It is not required for meditation, right? So I think a more helpful definition of meditation would be it is a technique that you use to train your mind to become very familiar with something, right? So this word, familiarity, is essential to meditation. And it's not a word that we associate with meditation, right? Most people don't, when they're, they don't know anything about meditation other than what they've heard, tangentially, they're not thinking about this word familiarity, right? But familiarity is a huge part of our life. It's a main driver of our life. Hey, Tom, think about something you're familiar with, really, really familiar with. What does that mean? Like, what does it mean when you're really familiar with something? I don't know, like walking or riding a bike. I don't know, whatever you're thinking of, right? The output is always the same. You don't have to try so hard for it to happen, right? It starts to show up more regularly with less effort. Whether that's learning a new language, at first very difficult, right? Requires a lot of concentration. Then after a while, you don't have to think about it, right? You just talk, So this relationship between familiarity, no matter what kind, is the superpower of us humans here, right? The ability to become familiar with things is an incredible gift, right? Because it allows us to start to have some choice over who we want to be, what types of things we want to come naturally to us. It is, to go back to Brenda, like it is our gift of an ongoing learning opportunity, right? But it goes both ways, right? So when we're here, we're talking a lot about positive things, but something like anger also adheres to these kind of rules of familiarity. So if you get angry easily, we might think, oh, I'm just an angry person, right? No, it's your mind has had a lot of practice getting annoyed, probably a lot more practice getting annoyed than being really patient. And so your mind finds it easier to go there than to go to patience, for example, right? So this concept of our mind and how familiarity impacts our mind and our day-to-day life as a result is essential to meditation. And that's literally what we're doing with meditation. It is a technique to help train our mind to become familiar in the things that we want to be familiar with, right? Because we're familiar with things, but sometimes it's not for our own choice, right? Just the environment we live in, things our parents did. We're familiar with doing something that way, so then that's the way we do it, right? So meditation is an amazing practice to start to investigate and look for places where maybe we can widen our view a little bit, right? Cool. And maybe you're saying, it's whatever. I want to relax. Meditation is great for relaxing. But why? Right? Do we ever think about that? Why? What's happening here? Meditation is not pulling relaxation from thin air, right? All it's doing is teaching you to become really familiar with relaxed you. There is a version inside everyone here, everyone watching, that is extremely relaxed and peaceful and calm, thinking objectively about things. It might not come out as that version of us might not come out as easily and regularly as we would like, right? But it's there. If we are honest with ourselves, there's been plenty of times where that's been us. Okay? And so what we're doing with meditation in terms of if you want to use meditation to be more peaceful, relax, is it's a technique to just familiarize yourself so much with that peaceful version of yourself that what happens? The same thing that happens with any sort of familiarity. It takes less effort for that to kind of show up. That starts to become our default, right? So you can see that no matter really what you're here for, whether it's relaxing or being working on anxiety or gratitude, whatever, right? The methodology is all the same, which is the cool part about meditation because it translates into all aspects of your life, right? So, great, sounds awesome. How do we do it? So when we start learning meditation, the first style of meditation that generally is taught is breathing meditation. Now, all breathing meditation is focusing single pointedly on your breath, right? And we'll talk a little bit, in a second, a little bit more about that. But the point is that breathing meditation is just meditation where the object of your meditation is your breath. You can meditate on anything. It does not need to be your breath. It can be on an idea, a concept. We're going to do a lot of that today, right? We start with breathing meditation because it's something that there's a lot of sensation, like we can feel ourselves breathing. It travels well. It's always with us. We don't have to go to some lake or mountain. We can just use our breath wherever we are, which is a really important aspect of meditation. You don't need specific external conditions to do this, right? So there's a lot of great reasons we start with breathing meditation, but it's just focusing on your breath as opposed to focusing on something else. So all meditation is what's called single-pointed concentration. We are focusing exclusively on one thing. We are focusing so exclusively on one thing that all the other things that are usually bouncing around in our mind, worrying about that project at work, what do I got to do later? Oh, I got that itch. What was that noise? All those things, they start to fade into the background. You've had experiences like this, even if you've never meditated before. If you've ever been in the zone, like flow state, sometimes it's called, we're working on a project really diligently. We lose track of time, right? All the annoying noises that are in the office, perhaps, if we're at work, we don't hear them. They're there, but it's as if they faded, right? So single-pointedly focusing on something allows us to do two things. One, become really plugged into it to the point where we can sometimes glean some things that we wouldn't normally if we weren't paying that much attention to it, right? So there's our learning opportunity. And side result, it like naturally kind of relaxes you, because the busyness in your mind is what is mentally exhausting, right? When we think concentrating is not relaxing, concentrating can be very relaxing. Concentrating on a million things at once is not relaxing, right? So that's what we're going to do with our first meditation here today. We're going to do some breathing meditation. And instructionally, it's pretty straightforward. There's 3 steps. 1, we're going to make a choice to do this. Sounds unnecessary, I'm sure. I thought so too. But we unintentionally have meditative experiences, but we want to start to teach our mind, hey, this is a thing that we do, right? Mind. I know you do this sometimes, but I want you to do this now, right? So we're teaching our mind like it's a pet, essentially. And so that starts with setting an intention, right? And all that is for now is just, I'm going to focus on my breath, and that's it for the next couple of minutes, right? Making a little promise to ourselves. And then while we're doing that, I'll be guiding. Don't worry, you're not on your own. Whenever you catch your attention drifting, it's like not even, you're way down thinking about next week, you notice that you're not 100% focused on your breath anymore, whatever that is. We're just going to say, not right now to those thoughts. We can even imagine ourselves like kind of putting them aside, right? Not right now. That's our little saying here. Though we're not labeling those thoughts as bad, intrusive. They're just thoughts. Just not now, right? So we're teaching our mind to kind of stay on track a little bit, which is going to help us stay single-pointedly focused on something and, have all these wonderful benefits that we were talking about earlier. So that's 2. So we choose to focus single-pointedly on our breath. We notice when our attention drifts. And then 3, we bring our attention back, right? And we're not disappointed. We're not upset with ourselves. We're not like, oh, I suck at this. It's just our mind thinks, we've noticed it thinking, and now we're bringing it back. That's it, okay? So these 3 steps are the kind of like essential practice of meditation, right? And we're going to do breathing meditation where we're choosing to focus on our breath, noticing when our attention is no longer on our breath, bringing our attention back to our breath, but you can meditate on anything. And we'll talk a little bit more about that after this breathing meditation. Cool? All right. So you'll notice I'm not on the floor. I'm in a chair. You can sit however you like. You want to lay down, go for it. There is no right way to sit or be when you're meditating. I would just encourage you to pick a seating arrangement that is relatively comfortable. That way you're not going in here already thinking about something else, right? You're like, oh, my back, I'm sitting on this floor. How could you think about your breath when you're sitting on the floor with your back hurting, right? So whatever is most comfortable for you should be what you do. Okay. And then you can go ahead and close your eyes. That'll help with just some visual distractions. And I'm going to guide us through probably about a 5-minute breathing meditation. Okay. Whenever we start a meditation, first things first, take a moment, check in with yourself. Actually ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? What's my mind up to? Whatever your answer is perfect. Maybe you're tired from a long day. Maybe you're energetic. Happy, sad, it does not matter. We are not doing anything about it. We are just noticing. We are practicing being an observer of our own mind. A little check-in. And having done that, you can now make a choice, a promise to yourself. A promise to focus single-pointedly on your own breath to the best of your ability for the next couple of minutes. And with that promise set, you can go ahead and do just that. Turn your full attention to your breath. Breathing in, breathing out, very gently, very naturally. You do not need to alter the way you normally breathe here. You don't need to take big, deep breaths or forcefully exhale air. However you normally breathe is perfect. In and out. Gently, naturally. As you allow yourself to relax a little bit into your seat. At some point, you will no doubt notice that your attention starts to drift. Maybe you're thinking about something that happened earlier today, or something you have to do later after this class ends, or tomorrow. Whenever you notice that your attention is drifting in this way, we can just say not right now to those thoughts. Imagine yourself placing those thoughts beside you. We will get to them later. And then purposefully, intentionally, steer your focus back to your own breath. In and out. Very gently, very naturally. single-pointedly focused on each moment of each breath. A single breath has so many moments. Can you follow the journey of the air as you breathe? Can you follow the air as you inhale? Can you watch it enter your body? Imagine it filling up your lungs, feeling your chest expanding. And what about when you exhale? What about that journey? Can you follow the air as it leaves your body? Can you watch the air as you send it back into the atmosphere where it dissipates? A moment-to-moment interest, curiosity, fascination with breathing in and out. Very gently, very naturally. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath whenever you notice it drifting. It does not matter how many times you need to do this. This practice, choosing to focus single-pointedly on your breath, noticing when your attention drifts, and being able to guide your attention back to your breath. That is meditation. You are practicing meditation right now. You are training your mind to recognize its natural peaceful state. You are training your mind to focus on what you want to focus on, to become familiar with what you want to become familiar with. And right now, the only thing you want to focus on is breathing in, breathing out. Very gently, very naturally. So just for the last few moments, continue to breathe and just enjoy sitting here. Don't need to think about anything. Just take a little time for yourself. You deserve it. Okay, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello. Welcome back. So that's a pretty standard breathing meditation. 3 steps, right? Doesn't mean it's easy. Maybe you notice that your mind gets distracted a lot. This doesn't mean that you're not good at meditation, and that's a huge hurdle to get over. Honestly, I've been meditating for like over 15 years, and I still have those thoughts, right? But what's happening is not that you're not good at it. It's just that, you're not familiar with it. Your mind is not familiar with doing this. Your mind is very familiar with multitasking, right? Juggling a lot of inputs, right? At the same time, right? think about this. Oh, I got work, right? What was that noise? All those things. Our mind is very used to doing that, right? It's familiar with it. So when we ask our mind to do basically the opposite, there might be some resistance, right? We might think, well, it's a waste of time, right? Our mind is like, oh, hey, what are you doing? I can think about a million things. Why one? Right? So part of this practice, and part of why starting with something pretty straightforward like breathing meditation is so helpful, is we need to teach our mind that, hey, we do this, right? And also teach our mind like, hey, there's benefits. Like, teach our mind to look forward to this, right? And all that is just practice, right? We all have the ability to learn anything with time and practice, right? And this is no different, right? Cool. All right. So that's breathing meditation. If you have any questions about that, feel free to ask me. I forgot to mention, you can ask me anything at any time. You don't have to wait for me to be like, does anyone have any questions? Just, you can ask in the chat. Tom, something that clicked for me from my amazing yoga instructor was to place those thoughts that may drift into our meditation and place them on a raft and let them float peacefully downstream. I love that. Great imagery. Great imagery. And part of the cool thing about you, Tom, but everyone, like having your own meditation practice, each one of you will have your own meditation practice, and you will have things like this happen. Things will click, right? And use that, right? We go through a lot of different examples and analogies here, and the reason is because everyone is going to connect with something different. This is a great, like, very visceral image of what we want to do with thoughts when they come into our mind, right? We're putting them on a little raft, and then we're letting them float. We'll go get them later, right? It's peaceful. It's not judgmental. It's not, we're not down on ourselves. I love it. Thanks for sharing, Tom. It's great. Cool. So today we're talking about giving. Timely for this time of year. Norma, no need to apologize. I'm glad you're here. Giving is kind of the culmination of what we've been talking about for the last like 2 months. And if you have not been around to experience those classes that we did, don't worry, it doesn't matter. You can go and look at them if you're interested on my YouTube channel. But you don't need to, it's not like a prerequisite, right? It's just to say that it's a deep topic, right? We've been talking a lot about compassion. We've been talking about recognizing the importance of other people. We've been talking about like generating a natural kindness and like a natural effort kindness, recognizing when we're having like kind thoughts and nurturing them. All of these things, right, is a very deep and beautiful practice that we're doing with meditation, right? Maybe you're like, oh, heck, I thought meditation was just relaxing, right? Meditation is just becoming familiar with something. And so over the last couple of months, we've been becoming familiar with these like compassion-based concepts, right? So today, we're going to talk about giving, and we're going to like do a little bit of it's almost like an analysis of like, what does that mean, right? Because we all have, when we think about giving, fine, let's start. When we think about giving, what comes to mind? Well, you don't have to think too much about it, right? Like a gift, it's like give somebody a gift, maybe a good friend of yours, right? Or maybe we see somebody who's asking for financial assistance. Presumably, maybe they don't have a home or whatnot. Helping somebody, Melody, perfect, right? Helping somebody, right? And a lot of the times, helping someone, and I'm so glad that you said that phrase, because I think that's a really great way. Let's keep that as our kind of motif, right? Because when we think about helping someone, very often it's a very physical thing, right? Gift, money, advice, right? We're communicating, right? Comfort, volunteer, right? Volunteer is great, right? Usually we're doing an action with volunteering, right? So a lot of the times, I'll fold this into a category that I'll call giving resources, right? Not necessarily money, but like something, a resource. Your advice is a resource. Money, resource. Gift, resource, right? This is we're most familiar with this. Counsel, great. Another great one, right? We're most familiar with this like action-based giving, which is great. It's very beneficial, right? And you can think about kind of giving it, like those nesting dolls. Why do we all know what those are? Right? You know what those are? It's like, if you don't, it's like think of like a little like wooden figurine. And then you open it up and inside is an identical wooden figurine that's just slightly smaller. And then you open that one up and it's slightly smaller. And it's like, okay, nesting doll, right? That's kind of like giving here. And so the biggest nesting doll, the one that's most obvious, is giving resources, right? You don't have to really look too hard to see some really great examples about that. Oh, Melody, are you reading my notes? Gift of time, right? Good. Let's open up the nesting doll, right? Time is the next little nesting doll, right? So time is a resource, and arguably it is our most valuable resource, right? We all have finite time here. We don't know how long that'll be. There's a lot of things we would like to do, have to do, need to do, want to do. Time is very valuable to us, right? And so when we think about something like maybe, think about like helping somebody move. Whenever somebody asks me, help me move, I'm like, oh my gosh. I just have fevered visions of me, my back hurting, right? So helping somebody move is a resource. Like we're helping them move stuff, but we're also giving time, right? The gift of time. We are saying, in this very finite time that I have here on this earth, I am going to spend some of it to do this, right? So we might not always think about time as being a catalyst for giving resource, but something like a gift, maybe you're going to go buy gifts for somebody for the holidays, right? The gift is nice, but there's a lot of time that goes into that gift, right? You have to think about it, right? Think about what might they like, right? And then you maybe recall some conversations you had with this friend, and I think they might like that. And then you research what's the best one. Then you go and drive to go get it, right? Like, so there's a lot of time that you are dedicating, giving, in order for this gift to come to be. Good so far? Right. So that's like a little nesting doll, right? So time is a form of giving that is a little more subtle than gifts or money or advice, right? Time. Can we go deeper? Let's take the next nesting doll out, right? I don't know, why do I keep doing this? Right? So the next one, and the one we're going to focus on here today, giving our undivided attention. Lucia, I love that. And that is time, right? That's a really good example of giving time. And our mind wants to think. We have a lot of things that we're interested in that we want to think about. And so giving our undivided attention to something is a really remarkable gift, right? And it connects really well with what we're doing with meditation, right? What are we doing with breathing meditation? We're choosing to focus on something. We're noticing when our attention drifts. We're bringing it back. We are purposefully giving time to our undivided attention to something for a very specific purpose, to gain some insight into it, to become really familiar with it. We're even though it's a gift for us, like we're giving the gift of time for benefiting ourselves, right? Amazing. Love that. Right? At the same time, the other person feels good when giving. It makes yourself feel better too. Yeah, and that's kind of this interesting. This is like the interesting kind of parallel of all of our discussions on compassion, right? It feels good to do that, right? It's great. Okay, so we have like giving resources, which is a huge category. And I'm saying giving resources, but it's probably not the best word because we think of money, but it's like a thing, advice, you know. And then wrapped in that is time. It takes time to do any of those things, right? So when we give resource, we're also giving time, right? So we could say that giving time is a necessary catalyst for giving resources. Cool. Abilities, talents. Yes. Another great one. So let's open up the nesting doll. Let's go deeper, right? So I'm going to call this giving love. And this you might immediately be like, oh, here we go, thoughts and prayers, right? Like that doesn't matter, actions matter, right? So let me explain what I mean by giving love. And this is just what I like to call it. You could call it whatever you want. Giving love is the mental action of doing a thing. Okay? So everything that we do, let's take giving the gift again, right? Or giving money, whatever. Everything that we do, like in terms of giving or really anything in our life, it only will happen if we have the thought, do it, right? So our mind is very quick and thinks very quickly, and we might not notice that these thoughts are happening, but mental thought is necessary for any sort of physical action, right? Without a mental action, the physical action does not happen, right? And so if we take some time and think about it, we can very easily see that is the case, right? And we're talking about kind of like giving here, but everything follows this cadence, right? In order to hug somebody, there's a moment where our mind thinks hug, right? In order to give someone advice, there's a moment where our mind thinks advise, right? So giving love is what I'm calling this mental action, right? And just like time is a catalyst for the resource, like giving resource, like you have to give time in order for those things to happen. There's a mental action that has to happen in order for you to give time, in order for you to give resource, right? And so while we might not think like mental giving, mental action is valuable, it's the most valuable because it is what leads to everything else. Cool? This is a big topic in meditation, mental action, and we have entire classes on it. But it's really important for, I think, this idea of giving because we don't think mental action has as much value as physical action. But physical action cannot happen without mental action. So we got to start there, right? We have to start there. And so, do I mean intention by mental action? Great question. Yes. So, once we've kind of we're presenting this idea that in order for a physical action to occur, a mental action has to come first, right? And if we can get behind that, cool. Now, if we are going to go a little further with that, that means that working on our mind, right, becoming familiar with, say, recognizing the kindness in other people, the value in other people, right? What if we could become so familiar with that we naturally just kind of felt that way and wanted to give time to others, right? So, yes, the intention by the mental action is a huge part of this, right? Because there's plenty of times that we do something, and maybe our intention doesn't really match. Maybe we're walking down the street with, we have a new boss, and we got a new job, and we see somebody's there asking for money, and we're like, oh, I'll give them like some money, then I'll look good in front of my boss, right? So that's a physical action, right? The money thing, but like, the intention, the mental component, the giving love part is not really developing, right? It's not like really genuine, right? So we want those to match, right? It's a great question. Thank you. So this is all to say that recognizing the importance of the importance your mind plays in your ability to give back is paramount. Like it's such a huge part of this, right? Because right now, think about, who do we give to? Friends, family, like who do we think about them, a lot. We recognize how important they are. This is calling back some of the other classes we've did, right? And so we naturally are inclined to, benefit them because they benefited us, right? So we want to start to expand how we view giving. That way we can expand how we can benefit other people. And it doesn't mean like you're not going to be able to give money to everybody or like gifts to everybody, right? But you can make a promise to yourself to work on your own mind. That way, the ability to help starts to come more naturally with less effort, right? That's a beautiful thing. And that is what will lead to you being able to comfort, like all these things. Like it all starts with your dedication to going back to what Brenda said, ongoing learning opportunities, right? I love that, right? And also what Melody said, helping somebody, right? Cool. So before we do a meditation on this, I wanted to give a little example of how this has impacted me. Now, everyone is going to have a different experience, and I'm not saying, oh, you should go and do this. Like, everyone has to decide what is right for them. Now, when I was learning this for the first time, a long, long time ago, I was meditating on it, and I had this thought. And the thought was like, it's strange that, when I'm thinking about giving, it's always to a person. It was just me, like, I don't know. I just feel like it was very easy. Like as soon as I would think about this, the examples I would come up with are for another person. And honestly, a lot of people said helping somebody, right? Like this is, it's easy to kind of think that way, right? So then I was like, well, what about not? All right. Friends, family, a program, a mission. Yeah. But who's the program for? People? So then I was like, well, like, what about like animals? And so then we have dogs, we have a lot of programs and missions to help dogs. Wonderful, right? And so like that's another kind of avenue that seems to come pretty naturally. So then I was like, what about like a spider? And this is where I started to like really have like a change. And like Tom said, like something clicked, and so I was like, well, what can I give a spider? They don't need a gift. They don't need money. They don't understand what I'm saying, so advice is not going to work, And I'm like, it wasn't as easy for me to kind of make these connections. So then I was like, okay, let me like think about this some more. Let me investigate. So look at what's happening here, right? I'm having a mental thought about this. And now I'm starting to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. And, spoilers, like some positive things come out of it, right? So I'm like, all right, well, what happens when I see a spider? What happens when 99.9% of the people here see a spider? Like, let's be honest, squash it, right? And we've kind of developed this as like just a thing. We don't even think about it, right? And so I remember thinking, well, why is that acceptable? Am I more important than the spider? Who decided that? Me? Right? Melody, great. So and Melody, that's what I started doing. And this is not like, oh, Keith's so nice to spiders and insects, but this is an example of how giving love is so valuable. Because if I never investigated this, if I never thought about this, then I bring the spiders outside. I bring the bugs outside, and I'm not perfect. Sometimes something happens, and I don't know. Maybe they go outside and they're not okay, but like I'm doing what I can, right? But without having this mental thought, using meditation to investigate it, nurturing it, like using logic and reasoning that I have within me to be like, well, why is it? Why would I do that? Why? Like, who decides who is more important, right? What I'm doing is I'm developing love, giving love to a wider set of living beings than I had previously done, to the best of my ability, right? And that, is better than money for the spider. They don't need money. So it's a really interesting. It's something I think about often because it's been. I have my little no squash bug thing now for like almost like 12 years, and sometimes people think it's weird. Why are you bringing that fly outside or whatever? And that's fine. But like this was a really big moment for me in terms of making a connection of how mental action leads to really positive things, and how without that mental action, without that investigation, that doesn't happen. All right. I'm not going to just all of a sudden start bringing spiders outside. Cool. So I want to do a little meditation, and we're going to do it on giving. And even though I just went on a tangent about like non giving to a human, but I'll probably stick with giving to another human because it's easy for us to kind of make that connection, right? We're going to do a little meditation, and it's going to start pretty similar to what we did with breathing meditation. We're going to relax a little bit by breathing, and then we're just going to do a little contemplation, thought experiment. I'm going to lead it. You just kind of follow along. And it's going to be on giving. And what we're going to do is we're going to think about this idea of giving, and we're going to use like this nesting doll analogy, right? Where here's the gift. Well, what was involved in doing that? What was involved in making that happen? And so on and so on. Basically just trying to reinforce some of the things we've been talking about. Cool? Awesome. Really great discussion today. Thank you. Like amazing contributions. Like this is why I love the live streaming format. It's so good to get everyone's brilliant perspectives on these topics. Cool. Okay. So go ahead and close your eyes and we'll do some meditation. Take a moment and check in again. How are you feeling in this moment? It's not a comparison to before. Before is done. Just now. How are you feeling right now? We are practicing noticing, which is a huge component in turning mental actions into positive physical ones. Noticing, awareness. And having done that, you can now turn your attention to your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Very gently, very naturally. And if you find your attention drifting, no big deal. We can just say not right now to those thoughts. We can put them on the raft and let them float down the river and guide our attention back to breathing. In and out, very gently, very naturally. And just check in on your attention again. Where is it? If it's on your breath, great. If not, no big deal. And just put those other thoughts aside. Put them on the raft. Send them down the river. Bring your attention back to breathing in, breathing out. Very gently, very naturally. This is breathing meditation, which means we are focusing single-pointedly on our own breath. But we can meditate on anything. And for the last few minutes together here tonight, we're going to meditate on an idea, a situation. We're going to use our imagination to contemplate something. So I'd like you to bring to mind someone in your life who is always just very kind to you, maybe like a best friend or family member, somebody that's just always there for you. And if you can't think of anyone, just imagine what that type of person would be to you. And I'd like you to imagine that this person, whoever they are, has gotten you a gift. It's something that you have been interested in, but maybe didn't have the means or didn't feel inclined enough to get it for yourself. Just imagine. We're just using our imagination. What is that gift? This, in and of itself, is a beautiful gesture. Giving something, a resource. But what went into making that happen? Imagine this person who gave you the gift, imagine what they did in order to get it. They had to drive to the store, perhaps, or order it, find the best one. In order to do that, they had to remember that this is something that you wanted. Time. The gift of time. This friend dedicated time out of their day. Unnecessarily, was not required, to do all of the things that need to be done to make sure you have this special moment. And even deeper, at some point, this person who gave you this gift had the thought, I should get this thing for you. That thought entered their mind. If it didn't, none of this would have ever transpired. And we have lots of thoughts all day long. They don't all turn into actions, do they? So not only did this person in your life have this thought, they nurtured it. They deemed it important. They didn't let other things distract them from this thought. They gave it their full attention. Go even deeper. This person who's always there for you, the cornerstone of your life, their mind is so familiar with recognizing the love they have for you, how much you benefit them, that these types of thoughts naturally pop up in their mind. The thoughts of give. Giving love. So for the last few moments here, just sit with the feelings that you have right now, whatever those are, and make a little promise to yourself to pay attention for those moments of mental action. Can you nurture them? Can you recognize how valuable it is to work on mental actions so that they can translate into physical ones? What a good use of your time. What a good use of your resources. Okay, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thanks for being patient. I know I'm a little over time. We had like a really good discussion, so I think I just got a little carried away with that, but didn't mean to keep you late. So there's an example of how we can, it's the same principles. We're choosing to focus on something, and if we notice ourselves drifting, we're gonna be like, not right now. Let's go back to thinking about this situation of a friend getting us a gift, right? And we're using this imaginary, though it maybe has happened to a lot of you, we're using this imaginary situation to glean some of the things that we've been talking about here today. Right? And the more that we do this, the more familiar we become with those thoughts, and those thoughts just start to pop up. Familiarity. That's everything. Right? Thank you, Tom. Would you like a little? I threw in the raft thing for you. Can be used for gratitude as well. Yes, we did a whole class on gratitude. Right? Gratitude, recognizing how important somebody is what leads to natural compassion. Right? We have gratitude for our friends and family, but we don't often think about having gratitude for person that helps us at the grocery store. Right? But everyone's so integral to our life. Right? Our house was built by people, a car built by people. Like, we wouldn't have any of these things without all these people that we've never met, right? Awesome. Thank you guys. It's been a really awesome year here together. Thank you for everyone that's been so supportive on the channel. And I really do appreciate your time. Oh, Joanne, thank you. I appreciate your time because I love teaching, and I couldn't do that without you guys. So thank you for taking time out of your day to be open to being here and meditating and learning together. It means a lot to me, right? Norma, I'm glad that I found you. Amazing. So this is our probably our last class before the new year, just because I'm doing a lot of traveling. We'll start up again in 2024. I can't believe it. And I really look forward to all the cool discussions we're going to have there too. If you had a good time, I do encourage you to come on back in the new year. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel and you'd like to, that would mean a lot to me. And, doesn't cost anything. You just get to check out all my old stuff. If you miss me over the next 2 weeks, you can go watch some old videos, see how my beard has grown. And I do teach one-on-one private instruction. If that's something that's interesting to you, you can email me. I'll give you my email. It's keith@meditationbreaks.com. keith@meditationbreaks.com. That's my email. Email me if you're interested in doing a one-on-one, you want to talk more about it, or just want to say hi or had a question. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you, everyone, for an awesome class and an awesome year. I look forward to many more to come. All right. Have a great evening and hope everyone has a happy holiday. All right. Take care.